Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Attract Customers with Inbound Marketing. My name is Michelle Eisenberg, and I am a program assistant here at the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center. And for those of you who may not know, the Nasdaq Center is a nonprofit building a better path for entrepreneurs worldwide by improving inclusion, access, and knowledge in entrepreneurship. So as you will see in the chat in a moment, the Nasdaq Center provides programs, resources, and exceptional mentorship to entrepreneurs across all races, industries, and geographies. So definitely make sure to check out those links and resources in the chat. And then just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. First, let us know where you are dialing in from in the chat. We always love to connect. And second, we are going to open up for live Q&A at the end of the event. So please make sure to submit your questions for us in that Q&A function at the bottom of your screen throughout the presentation, and we'll try our best to get to all of them. And of course, none of what we do could be possible at the center without all of the amazing support from our sponsors, including Nasdaq, Lehigh University, BMO, Airbnb, KPMG, Wilson Sonsini, Microsoft Entrepreneurship for Positive Impact, BPM, and HubSpot for Startups. We are humbled by their contributions and hope you are grateful too. And so before we get started, we always like to launch just a couple polls to step back, see how everyone in the room is doing today. This first one is going to ask, how are you feeling? Fearful, anxious, surviving, or optimistic? Just give it a couple moments for everyone to submit a response here. Awesome. All right. All right, gonna go ahead and end this poll, share these results. All right, looks like optimism is in the lead. We always love to see that, but definitely have some feelings of survival, anxiety, and fear in the audience. So hopefully some of our conversation today will help address some of these feelings. I'm gonna stop sharing this poll and launch the second poll. What is keeping you up at night? Finance, sales, marketing, scale, pivot, team, or surviving? And this one just helps us understand what your current needs are as an entrepreneur so that we can make sure we are continuing to develop programming and resources that are relevant to all of you. So give that just a couple more moments. Awesome. We got folks from Florida, Connecticut, Georgia, California, Illinois, North Carolina, New Jersey, Brazil, DC. Welcome, welcome. So great to have everyone here with us today. Texas. Awesome. Welcome, welcome, everyone. All right. I'm going to end this poll, share these results. All right, it looks like sales coming up in the lead, very fitting for our conversation today, but looks like we got needs all across the board. So thank you. This is super helpful as we continue to develop new content. I'm going to stop sharing this poll, and without any further delay, please join me in giving the warmest welcome to our special guest, Rafael Obando, sales and marketing expert at HubSpot for Startups. Rafael, it is such a pleasure to have you here with us today. Super, super excited for this one. I'm going to pass it right over to you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm super happy to be here sharing with the community. And hopefully those who are, being kept awake by marketing and sales, we can help you a little bit to give you maybe an hour extra of sleep after this workshop. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. And let's get started. Feel free to put any questions in the chat. I will be answering some questions live, and then we're going to have a few minutes for Q&A after this session. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm feeling optimistic today, and I'm joining you from Boston, Massachusetts. And I'm with HubSpot for Startups. I've been at HubSpot for almost 5 years now. Previously, I worked with investors and private equity firms to launch companies in retail and finance. And I love technology, science, and health. And of course, I love startups. I've been working with the startup ecosystem for 5 years now, and it doesn't get old. It's just such a fascinating environment, and I really admire what you all do. So what are we going to be seeing today? First, we're going to see what inbound marketing is. Then we're going to see how do you attract, convert, and close those customers via inbound marketing. And finally, we're going to be speaking about how do you generate traffic for your website, which is one of the major pains that not only startups or entrepreneurs, but most companies have. So first, what is inbound? So when we talk about marketing, this is something that might come to our minds, right? We built an amazing product, we built an amazing service, and it's out there, right? Around this service or product, we built also a message that is aimed to convey the value that we offer, the problem that we solve. And ideally, what we think of marketing is that we're going to have like a loudspeaker. Hopefully, this loudspeaker is going to be huge. And we're going to scream that message. We're going to try to bring it to the masses from the top of a mountain. And the more people we reach out to, the better. But inbound marketing is different. Traditional marketing, as we understand it, which is the loudspeaker marketing, is about being loud, right? It's about interrupting people. And how do we, or how do companies use this tool? Well, they're going to be sending potentially emails, but these emails are all about the product and they're not reaching the relevant audiences that you want to reach. So they're often interpreted as spam, right? We all receive a lot of spam from many companies. Maybe we also purchase a very expensive database and we start cold calling people. Usually, these calls will also be interruptive as they're of no value to the audience. Other companies and companies who have more money to spend might run ads. We've seen that everywhere. You're watching maybe the news or sports, and a company is going to say, wait, stop watching, stop doing what you're doing. I'm not going to play this video until you see this message. And companies are going to be interrupting people to show them the message. And we know how intrusive that is. Why is outbound marketing or traditional marketing like it is? Because outbound marketing is by itself a product that advertisement and companies and marketing companies are selling to you. And as a product, it was designed with a customer in mind. Who is this customer? Marketers. Marketers from big companies who have big checkbooks and can spend a lot of money in interrupting those customers. Inbound marketing is completely different. Why is inbound called inbound? First, because, we're a Boston-based company and that's the direction of the T or the subway. But then again, inbound means that we are not sending, we are not transmitting, we are not projecting a message. It's completely different. You can see here that on the inbound marketing side, instead of having a loudspeaker and interruptive, screaming and all that, we're going to be aiming at having a magnet that will attract your potential audiences to your digital ecosystem. And how do you do that? Well, first, think of how a magnet works. You need a mass, like a piece of metal that is big enough that you can later magnetize. And what is this piece of metal? At HubSpot, we think of this piece of metal of being content, value for your customers, right? It could take the shape of a blog, for example, which is a very efficient way to convey information. Then, what happens when you have a piece of metal and you want it to become a magnet? You need to magnetize this piece of metal. So how do you do that with your digital ecosystem? Well, you need to start thinking as your content as if it were a product. You need your content not to have you in the center, not to have your message or your product in the center, but you need to design your content as if it were a product that is going to also offer and create value for these audiences. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. Once you have built content that provides value to your audiences, you also need this content to surface in the ocean of content that currently exists in the internet. I've heard there's a lot of content in the internet. You can, verify that. So how do we make the search engines such as Google position our content in the first results? And that is what we call search engine optimization, which is basically if one of your customers or potential customers asks Google a question, what is the content that Google is going to present to them? We want to be on the first spots of that content, and that's search engine optimization. So why has inbound been so popular with startups and entrepreneurs who are growing? Because if you think as marketing, traditional marketing as a product, it's been designed for marketers. Marketers who what? Who have money. And which marketers have money? Marketers from huge corporations. Think of the budget for advertisement of Coca-Cola, for example. They spent over $100 million a year in advertisement. How many companies, how many entrepreneurs have $100 million to compete with these huge corporations, to being able to get that message through when you have these massive companies paying hundreds of millions of dollars in advertisement? So when a startup focuses their efforts in traditional marketing, it's like this kid who got into a fight, into wrestling, to this 300 pounds, 400-pound sumo wrestler. It doesn't matter how fast you are, how smart you are. This kid is not going to win this battle, right? It doesn't matter how much they practice or anything. The sumo wrestler will win. So when a company or a startup uses inbound, it's like this kid saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to be doing sumo anymore. Instead, let's play chess. Let's race in Mario Kart, It's like balancing the arena in which you're competing, because inbound is not about spending money. Inbound is about knowing the pains and the goals of your potential customers. And that's where startups win, because they're much, much closer to their customers. So what is inbound? Well, we have an amazing product. We are a founder, and we want this product to get to the right audiences. We build what? A digital ecosystem. We need something to attract these strangers that are out there and can benefit from my products. So what do we do first? We're going to start blogging. We're going to be focusing on keywords. What are these words that these audiences are using when asking questions about their pains and goals that are related to our product? And we're also going to start having a lot of social media presence. So the strangers out there that would benefit from our products or services would be attracted to our digital ecosystem. Once they're attracted, they become visitors, right? They're right there. That's fantastic. But what happens to someone who goes to your website and just leaves without leaving any contact information? You lost the potential to start building a relationship with them. So once you have visitors, you need to have a strategy to convert those visitors into leads. And how do you do that? You want to have what we call to actions. So in a HubSpot example, we might build a very, very valuable piece of content, how to do inbound marketing for startups, right? And it's a guide and it's very, very deep. We invested a lot of effort in offering that value to the entrepreneurs. We're going to have this content and we're going to have a call to action, which is like I would say, a bright square that invites you to download something, to start a demo or something like that, that is going to take you to a landing page, which will have a form where this visitor is going to be able to share their contact information so you can start building a relationship with them. When they convert, meaning that they give you this information, they become a lead. They can be a potential customer, right? So how do we get those leads to purchase from us and become customers? Well, we're going to be building a relationship with them via sharing amazing content through email. And of course, we need to share the right content with the right people at the right time. So we're going to have automation set up to tell that if someone is from marketing, for example, we're going to be sharing templates about marketing. If someone who is in our database comes from sales, maybe we're going to be sharing some sales strategies instead because they wouldn't be interested or they would get not value out of marketing strategies. And then we need to empower our sales team or ourselves to do follow-up, to interact with them and to build and keep this relationship via a CRM or customer relationship management system. So once we start interacting with these potential leads and we help them make a great decision that will help them in some way, they're going to become customers. Many companies celebrate here. You know, they bring the champagne, they ring the bell, and they forget completely that one of the most powerful channels for bringing new customers are your current customers. So it's very important that once you have these customers, you want to delight them so they become promoters. And we've all become promoters of some brand, right? If we're delighted with a company, with a product that we purchased, we're going to be marketers and salespeople, free salespeople and free marketers for that company. Hey, I just bought this fantastic, whatever, and it's been amazing. And I had an issue and they solved it. Make sure that you buy this. This is amazing. That is a promoter, and they're a major, major source of new business. So how do we do this? We're going to be constantly asking them, well, in a good regular, cadence, how do you feel about our products? Are we creating value for you? Would you recommend us to a friend to make sure that we're gauging how delighted these customers are? We're also going to have smart content that identifies what are the needs of each specific customer that you have in your database, and it's going to show content that adapts to these needs. And finally, we're going to be participating in these conversations that are going around in social media, in X, in Facebook, anywhere that you live in, so we can position ourselves as thought leaders, but also take any complaints, for example. That's very important. And this is what's going to help you delight those customers so they become promoters of your brand. Now, I see one question. Let me see if there are some questions in the chat. No, we're good. Okay, fantastic. So this all looks good, right? But how do you get those strangers into your website? And the first step, before you even create your first blog post, your first template or guide, is to understand who are your potential customers. Who do you want to attract, right? And this is what we call the buyer persona. And the buyer persona is a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customers. And then we're going to be doing like an anthropologic almost study of who they are, what content creates value for them, what is their purchase process, what is their process to make a purchasing decision, which is what we call the time, and then where do they live? Do they participate in blogs? Is it maybe part of the product hunt community? Where do these people go to when they're making buying decisions, right? Because that's where we want our content to live. And when you understand, when you have a clear understanding of what audiences do you want to attract, then this will be fundamental to anything that you do, whether it is content, whether it is a sales process, anything that your company is going to do to convert and attract those customers is going to be based and inspired by these potential customers, by this buyer persona. So now that we went to our database, maybe we saw who purchased from us and we're asking them questions about their sales process, about their pains, their goals. That's what we are going to be using also as part of our SEO strategy. And there are many, many ways, and SEO is quite complex, so it's a whole workshop by itself. But one of the fundamental questions that you must ask yourself when you want your content to be positioned very well in Google is, okay, what are these customers? What are these buyer personas looking to get help with, right? In our case, you can see that HubSpot, for example, one of our potential audiences are marketing directors. They're the ones who make the purchasing decision for HubSpot because they use our tools. So we went into our database and we interviewed these customers and we were asking them, what are your pains? What are your goals? What's your position? Maybe some demographics as well that will help us identify. And most importantly, what are you looking for content to help you with? This gave us the ammo, the ammunition, the inventory of challenges and goals that helped us build an amazing blog and incredible content for all these folks. And these contents attracts a lot of potential leads for HubSpot. And we are very well positioned in Google as well. The second part of it is that when you have content, you need to have also an architecture of this content that is going to help your search engine optimization. And how do you do that? Well, first, you need to build what we call a pillar content. This would be the ultimate marketing guide for startups, right? It's very deep, very complex, a lot of value in that content, and it's a central piece that is going to attract a lot of people. Around this content, we're going to be building what we call cluster content, which might not be as deep and exhaustive as the pillar content, but it's very practical and it answers the questions that your buyer personas are putting in the Google search bar. Like, I don't know, 5 Instagram tips for entrepreneurs who are starting their Instagram page, right? It's related to the pillar content, but it's not as deep, but it's answering questions that are frequent. How to increase website traffic in 5 easy steps, right? Cluster content. And every one of these contents is going to have a link to that pillar content. Why is this so effective? Because it helps Google understand the prioritization of the content, the value of the content that you're building. If Google sees that you have a lot of hyperlinks to a single piece of content, it's going to understand that this content is above the hierarchy of content than the clustered content. And this helps a lot. You can also have links to the cluster content from the pillar content and build this architecture so that you make sure that you're bringing your leads through a great funnel, that they're funneling through the leads. Now that you know this, what is the second step? Start blogging. And there's something that I really like about inbound marketing is that, yes, I show you a whole graphic to explain inbound marketing, right? There's a process and you have to attract and you have to convert and you have workflows and you have blogs and you have a bunch of stuff. But the great thing with inbound marketing is that you don't need to build your whole inbound marketing engine to start working on it. It's very simple. You can start by taking the smallest step of all, which is blogging, right? Writing a blog post. It used to take everyone maybe a couple of hours to get 500 words. Now it's just writing a prompt in one of the chat GPTs or even HubSpot, right? But it's very important, and it's even more important nowadays that if you're going to blog, you know how to do it well. And the first step, as we said it, is that you need to understand your audience. What questions do they have? How can you help them through this content achieve their goals or solve a pain? Of course, you need to start with a topic and a working title. You need this title and the topic to show that there's value in reading this content. You also need to write an intro. Why is this important? Because if you make a captivating introduction, the people who are reading this blog are going to stay there. And Google sees that and says, okay, if they read this content, it's because it answered the question and it's going to help your SEO. You also need to organize your content. This is going to make it easier for your audiences to read it, to consume it, but it's also going to make it easier for Google and the search engines to understand what this content is about. Number 5, right. You all are experts in what you do. You know more about your customer pains. You know more about your industries. You know more about your product and the value that it offers than 99% of the population. Use this knowledge that you have to deliver value to your potential customers. The number 6 is something that many companies don't do. And it's a huge mistake. It's a massive mistake. You always have to have a call to action at the end. Imagine that you build an amazing blog post that attracts, I don't know, 2 million people, 2 million potential customers that are the right audience for your product. Well, that's fantastic. That's going to look great when you're looking at Google Analytics. But if you don't have what we call a conversion path, if you don't offer those readers an opportunity to give you their contact information, to start a relationship with you, then you just lost that effort. It's a massive, massive waste of effort. And always wear the SEO hat. It's impossible to understand how Google's algorithm ranks web pages, but we have some idea of how it works. So we always need to be thinking about SEO. This includes keywords, having keywords in your titles, having naming your image with a description, right? Like director of marketing, reading an Excel template, right? That is going to help Google understand your content and rank it higher when somebody asks a question about it. So that's really important. Never stop wearing your SEO hat. And finally, you build a 500 word blog post, right? Why don't using that into creating social media posts, right? It give you at least 10 social media posts from that blog. You only need to repurpose this content so it fits to different environments. If it's X, if it's Facebook, you need just to adjust this content to publish it in the right channels. And something that is also very important is engaging with your community once you post. Now, we said this as well. Your buyer persona or buyer personas, where do they live? What networks? Where are they looking to solve their problems? Is it blogs? Is it Reddit? Some people might use YouTube, for example, if I'm the buyer persona of, I don't know, do-it-yourself things and I need to build something out of my garage, then I may go check a video on YouTube. But if I'm a VP of finance and I need to solve something about cash flow, maybe YouTube is not the right environment. Maybe I'm going to go to LinkedIn or I'm going to search for templates, right? So always mind the format and the place where your audiences lives. You also need to be realistic about how much time do you have so you can be optimal about this. How much time do you want to spend on a social network, especially if you need to engage with this community? And finally, be resourceful. For example, if you hire someone for your sales team, salespeople are very knowledgeable about the pains and the goals of the customers. They could be a fantastic source of valuable content to reach out to those audiences. As we mentioned, format is important. Videos are becoming more and more important now. That's another example. But some people also would rather read. So think about what are the preferred formats that your audiences will have. Also, you need to avoid being too promotional. Why? Because they will unfollow you. Your potential leads will say, no, he's just selling to me, right? Imagine, I don't know, I follow like this sports brands like Adidas, Nike, Reebok, all that. What if they would be selling me shoes all day? Like, hey, Rafael, buy these shoes. These shoes are amazing. Then we have this t-shirt. I get bored. I don't follow these folks because of that. It's not creating value for me. So I'm going to unfollow these folks because they're too salesy. You can also invite and use your audiences. They are also an amazing source of content because who better to understand your goals than yourself and your pains, right? And of course, be consistent. At HubSpot, for example, we always try to have like a friendly, warm tone in what we do. So we have a whole style guide that helps us keep us on brand. If we were a banking institution, we would want to be super formal and strict with language and all that stuff. So be mindful as well to the formats that will adapt best to your branding. And finally, we are not completely against promotion and ads. You can set up a budget and start promoting this valuable content that you created to the right audiences via whatever social networks your audiences are at. It's also important to really understand the ROI behind these investments because you might think that your audiences are maybe on Instagram, to say so, but then you realize that for every dollar spent on a different network like LinkedIn, you're bringing many more customers than if you did in Instagram. So always be mindful about the customer acquisition cost on any of the different networks so you can focus all your money on where it makes the most customers for you, right? So that's very important. So before we move forward, I know there's a lot of questions in the chat. So let me take a look at this. So Dave says have to craft a persona which closest to the one we look for. If you have customers, start there. Go to your customers. Who are you? Demographic, what role? We even have a make your persona tool that you can use for free and ask questions, and probably your current customers are going to be a great reflection of your potential customers, of course. So that's a great source. If you don't have enough customers to do this, then you can build a hypothesis like, I don't know, I built a marketing automation tool. So I imagine that marketing managers are my buyer persona. Who do I know that is a marketing manager? And you can start there by understanding their pains, their challenges, their roles, and everything that will guide you in building the right persona. And the buyer persona is not something static. This is something that you can constantly be renewing because, people change. And also maybe you see somebody that you didn't see before. Oh, I didn't know that, for example, also salespeople would use this, right? So you might find like different audiences as well. Um, so let me see other questions. What's the best way to ask for testimonials? I like this one. Um, like the first thing is to prepare a set of questions. Again, we have a Make My Persona tool that will guide you through these questions. And usually when you ask your audiences for advice, they like to give it to you. Like it's not that difficult to get like an interview with somebody. If you're having issues, if your buyer persona is not someone that would give you insights or doesn't have a lot of time, maybe you can offer bonuses or contests or do a contest, win an Amazon gift card or whatever, but be creative in finding those testimonials. Now, we have a lot of questions and we have a lot of content, so I'm going to skip the questions for now and see if we have the time to answer them at the end. So now we knew who our audiences are and we understood the questions, the challenges that they're facing. Now we build amazing content that answers those questions, that creates value for them. And they're starting to get to our website. They're starting to read our blog. They're starting to interact with our social media. Now, what do we do with this traffic? And this is what we call the funnel. Everyone calls it like this. It's not only a HubSpot thing, but we have different objectives at different times. You get the traffic. What is the first goal? You only want to open a channel of communication. So you have to be very simple. You only want to capture their email address. That will be enough to start a relationship. Maybe a first name as well, so you can treat them on a first name basis. Once you have this and you start to build, for example, email campaigns, and they start to get more familiar with your digital ecosystem and they start to consume your content, you want to see if this person who arrived to your content, if it's worth an effort to sell to them, right? Because I'll give you an example about HubSpot as well. Our blog attracts, yes, a lot of directors of marketing. They buy HubSpot, but it also attracts HR managers. And even if we like HR managers very much, we know that they don't get a lot of value from our products. So we welcome them to our content, but we don't want to spend time and resources trying to sell them to them because they don't purchase. So once you have that initial piece of information, your next goal is to expand your knowledge of that specific lead so you know that they're a good potential customer. So you want to capture more about maybe their company name, maybe their employee size, or if you're in B2C, maybe there are other variables which would be more relevant, like the age or the region or the weather where they live. For example, if you're selling them like clothing or whatever. So understand what important attributes do you want to capture to see if they're a potential customer or not. Then, when they share this information with you, they become a marketing qualified lead. You know that you can sell to them. Now, you want this marketing qualified lead to give you a signal that they want to purchase. So our buyer persona's name is Marketing Michelle. She was asking Google how to increase your website traffic. She got to our website. She subscribed to the blog. We have her email. Great. Then she saw a template to build landing pages. And she gave us more information about her job, about the employee size of her company, just to download that information. And we know she's a director of marketing now. So fantastic, she's a potential customer. Now, what we want Michelle to do is to continue interacting with us via email, content, etc., but also understand our product and give us a signal that they want to assess our product. Like, do a demo, for example, request a sales call. These are many options, many actions that we want this lead to take, and that is how we aim our content to. And this is probably my favorite slide here. Why? Because it shows you a live example on how we do it. And believe me, this works very well for HubSpot. So first, you see there's a blog post right here. Marketing Michelle got this blog post. We're offering her a template to design and optimize landing pages. This is something that is very valuable for her, and it's free and it's right there. We're going to include a call to action. This square right here, download now, is the call to action that we want her to click. If she's not ready for this, we also give her opportunities to subscribe to our blog and give us her email address, or even give us a sales signal. Get started with HubSpot, right? I want to see your product. But let's say that she already subscribed and she is really attracted to the landing page format, right? She's going to click on download now, and we are going to bring this lead to the landing page. What is a landing page? It's a website page that focuses on this person sharing their information with us. So we're going to have, okay, here's your template to design and optimize landing pages, and we're going to share it with you, but please let us know you better. Give me your first name, your last name, company name, how many employees work there, your website URL. This is going to allow us to understand if this person is a potential customer or not, right? And once they download this, we're going to give them another opportunity to request a sales call or a demo or a trial or something like that. So we take them through a thank you page where we say, thank you so much, you're all set. Do you want to get started for free with us? And this, again, gives you another opportunity to convert this person into a sales qualified lead. Of course, forms is one way to do this. But nowadays, and with what's happening with artificial intelligence, this is going to be even more relevant. You can start also converting this traffic via chatbots. So this is one example of the HubSpot Academy. The HubSpot Academy has a lot of content that helps marketers, salespeople, startups understand how to do marketing and sales. And we have a bot there that is going to help this person who's visiting our content. And through that chatbot, you can also create this conversion and get to know them. So you're going to say, hello, hey, you probably captured their name, their nick. Hey, Nick, how are you doing? Would you like to learn how to easily build chatbots? Well, yeah, let's go. And then this chatbot can start asking questions like, thank you, Nick. Can you tell me a little bit about your industry? Can you tell me how big your company is? Can you tell me what role do you do? And this information is going to feed into my database. So I get to know and understand if I can continue working with this person, right? So this is a neat And again, this is going to be much, much, much powerful with what's happening with AI. Now that we have your information, now that we know that you're a marketing director from a small and medium businesses, what do we do now? Well, we want to help you make a great purchasing decision, right? So we're going to start by sharing more content with you. I know you downloaded the landing page template. Why don't I share with you how to do SEO? Also, we have this social media marketing kit. Maybe it's useful for you. As you can see, this content is not about HubSpot. It's not trying to sell you HubSpot. These emails are giving you valuable information that is going to help reach your goals, convert that traffic. And finally, we can also start having calls to action to maybe set up a call with a sales rep, right? So you can see that we're helping our potential customers move forward in their decision to use our product. Of course, you need to see if you're being successful. And that's why we want to understand the conversion rates, right? How many of these visitors sign up to be a subscriber? How many become leads? How many of these leads are going to purchase? Because once you know that, you can start setting up goals at every stage of your funnel, right? So now I know that if I want 300 customers, probably I will need to increase my visitors to 40,000, right? So now I have a goal that I need to reach in terms of visitors. So great, we converted this person. We know who they are and they're interacting with us and we have a relationship with them. So how do you close them? And always be mindful of something. Your persona, they have a process. They have different stages that we call the buyer's journey. What is the buyer journey? First, awareness. I have a symptom. I need to see what's the problem. So I don't have traffic on my website. I need to understand why is this happening. That's the awareness stage. In marketing, okay, I identified that my problem for which I don't have traffic is that I rank poorly on SEO. Okay, I'm entering now the consideration stage where I'm going to be asking Google, hey, I have a problem with SEO. How do I improve my SEO, right? Once I start reading, I start to learn, I start to understand, and I decide that I'm going to go with a strategy. Let's say I'm going to solve my problems with SEO via doing a keyword strategy. That's when I enter a decision stage, when I know that I am going to execute a strategy that adjusts best to my company. And now I'm assessing the tools that I'm going to use to solve for that, right? So once I go into the decision stage, that's the only time that I'm going to be consuming content about products. If you think about the majority of companies, they all have a lot of content for the decision stage. Buy this because this is so cool. This is the tool. This is the price. This is the benefits of my product. And they forget that there's millions of potential customers. Just they don't even know what they want, right? You know they're potential customers, but they don't even know what SEO means, right? They don't even know what they don't know. So you need to build content as well that is going to help you start a relationship, interaction with these folks very early stage on their customer journey, right? And of course, this is going to look different from the marketer's perspective. It's going to look like a visit, a lead, a marketing qualified lead. When they're in consideration, they might become a sales qualified lead. When they're in the decision stage, they might request a demo, a trial. And that's when you get an opportunity to turn them into a customer. But this process has different stages and different departments. So it's very important that you align your marketing and sales, and we do this through service level agreements or SLAs. For example, what could be an SLA from marketing to sales? Bring me leads. Hey, marketing, I need someone to call. I need qualified leads that will purchase if I call them and talk to them. Same from sales. What does marketing ask sales? Yeah, I'm going to bring you leads, but you follow up, right? You're going to be doing follow up. So it's very important to align everything that you do so that you have follow up, that nothing falls through the cracks. And this is an example of a marketing SLA. You have a new customers goal. Let's say I want 100 customers, and you know that 50% of your leads turn to customers. So you're going to go to marketing, or to you, if you're the marketing person, and say, hey, I need 200 leads because our goal is to bring 100 customers. You also want to align through automation. If Marketing Michelle downloaded or requested a demo, what happens if nobody follows up? You're going to lose that customer. So it's very important that when somebody has this sales request, like, hey, give me a trial, give me a demo, you need to follow up via automation. Hey, Michelle, I saw that you requested a demo or that you started a trial. Why don't you meet with one of our sales rep or X, Y, and Z so we can see if you would be interested in HubSpot, right? That's very important. So for example, when somebody sits at the pricing page for HubSpot, they're going to get an automated email from us to get assistance into this purchase. And that's marketing and sales alignment. Internally, it's the same. If somebody is viewing your pricing page, send an email to the sales rep who owns them so they can call them, right? So this is an internal email that we send our sales rep when somebody is seeing the pricing page. Hey, here's the information that you need from this person who is viewing the pricing page. Here's some sales enablement templates that you can use to sell to them. Here is the score, or how likely this person is to purchase. And this is very important because between 30 and 50% of deals are going to go to the vendor who calls first. That's an amazing statistic, right? See how easily you can beat your competitor if you call your potential customer at the right time before them, or how easily you can lose this opportunity to someone else who called before you. Getting to the end, I wanted to bring this quote from our founder, Brian Halligan, and he says that to grow your business, you must match the way you market your products with the way your prospects learn about and shop for your product. This is very important because many companies build a sales and marketing process, and then they try to push their potential customers and leads through it. Think of your sales and marketing processes as a product. Design these processes to match how your potential leads buy. It's by design. Remove friction and adapt to whatever your buyer personas told you on how they like to buy. And I can give you some examples about HubSpot. So takeaways before we go to 5 minutes Q&A. What is inbound marketing? It helps you attract potential customers instead of interrupting them. How? With content. It's key to attract visitors and establishing your brand. And also, it's great to curate your audiences. It's great to qualify your leads. Always add more value than the value you extract. Think about your content as a way to deliver free value to your customers while you attract them. And finally, it's very important to align your sales and marketing activities so nothing falls to the cracks. And again, always have a call to action. Remember to apply to HubSpot for Startups and download your free CRM via Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center. And now I'm going to be opening for questions. Let me just stop sharing. Thank you so much again.
Thanks, Rafael. That was really awesome. Lots of great strategies in there and just so clear on kind of, moving the buyer through that journey. I think is like those visuals are really, really helpful for entrepreneurs in those early stages of business and kind of figuring out what that really looks like. So yeah, we have tons of questions coming in. We'll try to get to as many as possible. But I know we had a few people, kind of, working, from the service lens. And so, are there key considerations, for a service business, that might differ from like a product-based business, kind of like what we were talking about here, or how does that differ or look similar?
I think that when you're doing inbound marketing, not the product or if you're B2C or B2C is going to be that important. What it's really important is understand how much your customers educate themselves before making a purchase decision, right? So I don't know, if you're selling chips at a supermarket, your customers might not educate themselves a lot before buying chips, right? But if you're selling financial products, then they're going to do a lot of research. And that research is your opportunity to deliver content that will help them make a great decision and achieve these goals. So I wouldn't put it in terms of what is your product, what is your service, or whether you're B2B or B2C, but more about the purchase process that everyone executes, right?
Hmm.
That's the most important.
Yeah, I think that's a really helpful way to look at it for sure. I like that perspective. And we have another question here that I think a couple entrepreneurs have kind of wondered about, as you touched on a little bit, but in terms of SEO, what is the potential impact of generative AI, w within the context of, HubSpot and what might that look like going forward for entrepreneurs? What can they kind of expect?
I am very, very, very optimistic about the impact of generative AI. I think it's a way to democratize more inbound marketing. Why? Because, startups don't have time and they have very limited resources, for example, to build this content. So it might be challenging to compete with a scale-up who has maybe somebody from marketing who is doing this, right? They're building more content. Um, I think we're on the brink of something very big, but of course it's very, very challenging to know. But now a single person will have like a content creating team if they understand well how to use these generative tools. Uh, so the competition is not going to be in how much content you create, but the prompts. We need to get very, very good at prompting these softwares, these generative softwares, so they do the best. And one of the most important things to keep in mind is to focus on your customer. Since we're less content creators and more like content, like ask the right question to ChatGPT. So it's very important that you're asking the questions that your potential audiences would be asking. And empathy is becoming increasingly even more important than it was before, because that's what's going to help you build amazing prompts.
Totally. Love that. Awesome. I know we're out of time, but Rafael, this has been so incredible. And if you had just one key takeaway or piece of wisdom that you wanted to leave with the audience here today, what would that be?
Well, first, thank you so much. Thank you, the audience. And the other thing is a very common mistake that I see in entrepreneurs when they are doing sales and marketing. It's very easy to fall in love with your product because, of course, you have an amazing product, you have an amazing service, but don't let this love blind you to your customers. Always think
Hmm.
about your customer first because it's okay to fall in love with your product, but don't be blinded because sometimes you fall too much in love with the product and you forget about the potential customers that you have.
Love it. Awesome, Rafael. This has been so incredible. Thank you so much. And on behalf of the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center and everyone here today, we're just so grateful that you joined us.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. And to our audience, we'd love for you to join us again for upcoming webinars, which you can view using the links that are going to be posted in the chat. And thank you all so much for joining us today. We look forward to welcoming you back online with us soon.